After 8 years of development, Starfield is finally in the hands of us gamers. It's a game that somehow confuses people when I bring it up, so let me put it simply. It's Skyrim in space. Fallout, but we didn't blow each other up with nukes, but most importantly, it's Bethesda's next big title that could be in a long list of great games, or not so great games. It's also a game that before release got called Rush because the menu screen looked simple. I don't know about you, but I don't look at the menu screen longer than 10 seconds whenever I load up the game. And it's also a game that upsets grown men because of what exactly again? Pronouns! Oh yeah, that small feature that is literally mentioned one time when you create your character and then never again. However, the most important question remains. Should you refund Starfield? In this series, I play games within the 2-hour Steam refund window and tell you if you should refund the game. A game should grab your attention straight away, not 10 hours in. We'll be looking at this game from 3 different perspectives. First impressions, gameplay and combat, and story. So Starfield, let's talk about you. My first impressions require some explaining, especially because I played this on a PC, so get ready for some nerd talk. I run a 1660 GTX Super, an i7 processor, 32GB of RAM, and my PC is only 2 years old. Why am I bringing this up? Well, the performance of this game, to put it lightly, is horrible. It's absolutely terrible, and thankfully I'm not the only one. A lot of people are experiencing this on PC, and it's quite unfortunate. Those lag spikes you're currently seeing on screen happened whenever I would start dialogue, engage in combat, or loaded up a new area. Frame drops I can deal with, and to be honest, I barely had any frame drops. Whenever the game was running properly, it was running between 40 and 50 frames per second, which isn't the 60 FPS the game is aiming for, but it is very manageable. I played it on lowest settings, on medium settings, and nothing really changed. My frame stayed the same, but those lag spikes still happened, and to be honest, the graphics of this game are fine, but they're nothing special, right? And this system runs games with better graphics that have way more things going on the screen, like particle effects, etc., way more smoothly than it runs Starfield. So it's definitely a Starfield issue, and it's really sad to see. However, I do have faith that the player community, Bethesda, can fix these performance issues sooner rather than later. Thankfully, I don't let technical sides of games define what games are truly about. Because straight away, in classic Bethesda fashion, I started in a cave. And starting in a cave always brings me back to Skyrim, and that's always a good start to any Bethesda game. A mining cave to be more precise, where I had to mine some resources, and the game was slowly introducing me at the hand of this simple gameplay loop where I had to walk around, learn about looting, pick up a weapon, mine some minerals with the laser, and get told to run to an objective. Very simple stuff, but it's always nice when a game does introduce you to it in that manner and it slowly rolls you into whatever the experience is that they're trying to bring. The controls are exactly what you expect from a Bethesda game, but I say they're a bit more refined than, let's say, Skyrim. I mean, Skyrim is 12 years old or something at this point, so you would hope that they would refine something like that. After you mine some stuff, you get told to inspect this rare mineral, and that's when the real story gets introduced, because it isn't just a mineral, it's an artifact. And what is an artifact, you ask? I have no idea. Images like these, however, do grab your attention. Well, it grabs my attention, and I'm immediately intrigued about what on earth this artifact is and why it made me respond the way it did. Introducing the story element early on made me want to continue on playing the game and learning more about it, which I think is a good sign and is definitely a positive. After the story was introduced, you get to create your character in the detailed Bethesda way you've grown accustomed to. You can get whatever nose or cheeks or whatever you want, however you want it. I don't care about it. I tried to do it as quickly as I could so I could actually play the game. Nothing new there, besides obviously the ability to select pronouns, which made people angry for some reason. To me, it is something that is a small feature that doesn't bother me. It's only brought up once, and it makes an entire community of people very, very happy. So don't make a big deal out of it and just be happy for those people, right? They feel included, and that should make you happy as well. Anyway, enough political talk. Let's jump into the gameplay and combat loop of this game. I think the best way to explain the gameplay loop of Starfield is Bethesda refining what they do best, giving the player freedom to do anything that they want, follow whichever storyline they want, and create whatever type of character that they want. And they also have finally improved on the combat, and it feels smooth now instead of clunky. My main gripes with Fallout games was that the gunplay felt very heavy, and Starfield's gunplay feels pretty good. Like, it generally does feel pretty good. I don't think it's on the level of Borderlands yet. I think they have their gunplay down to a T, but Starfield feels more towards the Borderlands spectrum than it does to the Fallout spectrum. Another great thing that I really liked was the fact that every gameplay element was introduced one by one. You start off by movement and interacting with items in the cave section, then you got some combat. Once you got attacked out of the cave and you got attacked by some pirates and they introduced those pirates to you, they're probably some sort of enemy that you'll be encountering a lot throughout the story, and then you get to your ship and you get taught everything about that. And the great thing about that ship is that you can fly around freely if that's what your heart desires, and if you don't like it, like I do, then you can just fast travel anywhere. That's something I really have to give kudos to Bethesda to, because I hate vehicle gameplay in any sort of game, and me having the ability to just pretty much skip it out in Starfield, at least on the early part, is very, very nice. Combat wise, it felt okay to me. As I said, I personally experienced Bethesda games as having clunky combat. The combat in this game is a lot better, as I said, however it's still not up to par to most modern titles. I always like to play a sneak build, but at the start it felt very unplayable. Everything aggroed you straight away and you couldn't really sneak behind enemies. That will probably change later on, but I would have loved to be able to do that straight away and play the way however I want to play from the start and not having to wait to a certain part of the game. The level up system works exactly as you expect it to. You gain experience by taking on enemies and completing missions, and when you level up you get skill points. However, one thing I loved about the skill points, because I'm not the biggest fan of skill point systems because they usually feel a bit convoluted and not very well thought out. Half the stuff on there is never really useful unless you go for something specific, and I know it's exactly what it's meant for, but one thing that I really do like about these skill points is the fact that you have to do a little challenge relating to the skill that you just upgraded. If you upgrade your ballistics or your weapon skill, you have to get 20 eliminations with that type of weapon to get some extra rewards. This to me encourages you to actually use the skill instead of just upgrading it and it being a passive. But that's enough about the gameplay. What is the world like? What is the lore like? And what is the story like? The main story, as far as I could tell in the 2 hours that I played, revolves around these artifacts that you need to collect to make something very powerful and alien-like. Whatever it is, it's interesting, it's intriguing, it's being made important straight away, and it's even told that certain people in the world use it as some sort of status symbol, as a flex, as like drip. I don't know what they're using it as. Does it have any powers? Probably not, but the fact that I'm wondering this proves that it's an interesting concept and I want to find out more about. I unfortunately didn't get the time to start any of the other side quest lines that are probably better than most main quest lines, at least going off other Bethesda titles, but it is an aspect of the game that is very well introduced because it's something introduced very subtly through dialogue throughout the main storyline. Kind of a hint of like, hey, you should talk to me for an extra mission, or do you want to join my faction? That way you won't miss them and know that they're there, but it also doesn't pull you off the main story for people that, you know, might get confused that, is this a part of the main story? Is this not a part of the main story? I think that's very well implemented. When it comes to world building, the areas you go to at the start feel like they are memorable. The mining camp, a desolate planet with a research lab on it, where it seems like some messed up stuff happened there, and the big main city hub, which looks gorgeous. However, I do have to say that the planets I've been to, Mars and where the research lab was, did feel a bit empty. The locations on there were memorable, but everything around it wasn't really memorable. That location could have literally been anywhere. It had the objective on it and that was it. Maybe there's more, but it didn't really encourage me to explore anything else because it just seemed completely desolate. There was nothing there, no caves, no nothing, so I don't know. The main hub, however, did feel memorable. I walked around the city and it gave me that feeling that a city like Novigrad in The Witcher 3 or Whiterun in Skyrim gives. It felt alive, it felt like things were happening even if you weren't there. It's that city you will remember long after you've played the game, and I only played for 2 hours where maybe 25 minutes of that was spent in the city and I already feel this way about it. Regarding the characters, they felt like they had some soul to them, instead of empty shells to deliver dialogue. Once I got to the city and got introduced to the constellation, some sort of order within the game that hunts these artifacts, the characters there felt like characters. You had the hot blonde chick, the skeptic old man, and the geeky science girl. Oh, and not to forget, the robot you explore space with. He is present, however, and a bit loud, especially if it glitches, like it did for me. Yeah, keep shooting, buddy. I'm sure you will hit something at some point. But he also gives you guidance through dialogue. Instead of a pop-up saying do X, he hinted at things like, oh, I sense a vault here. Maybe you should use one of your lockpicks to open it. And on the topic of vaults, thank you Bethesda for making something that makes sense for once and doesn't feel random, at least to me. With all that being said, one question remains. Should you refund Starfield? I think the answer of this question isn't as straightforward as a yes or a no. So my verdict lays in the middle. Wait till the performance issues are fixed on PC. I think the game is a lot of fun. It has a great story, the gameplay seems fun, and there's a lot of depth I didn't even touch upon because I don't want to make this video an hour long. It's a game that could be added to the list of Skyrim and Fallout New Vegas, however, right now it doesn't belong there yet, at least the PC version. The fact my game freezes every time I enter combat, dialogue, or load a new area really breaks the immersion for me, and it just annoys me whilst playing because I want to sit down and enjoy this amazing game, but I can't. So, should you refund Starfield? Yes. and wait for the game to properly perform and then buy it again, because it's actually a really good game. I hope you did enjoy this video, and keep in mind, this is just my opinion and I want to know yours in the comment section down below. Subscribe to this channel if you are enjoying the content. We upload every single week on Saturdays, and check out the video that's on screen. I bet you will actually love it. No, seriously, click it. You really want to. I promise you.